Public affairs is a term for the formal officers of the branches of the United States Department of Defense whose purpose is to deal with the media and community issues. The term is also used for numerous media relations officers that are created by the U.S. military for more specific limited purposes. Public affairs officers are staffed by a combination of officers, enlisted personnel, civilian officials and contract professionals. Public affairs officers play a key role in contingency and deployed operations. The typical public affairs office is led by an officer who is in charge of planning, budgeting for, executing and evaluating the effectiveness of public affairs programs, and provides public affairs advice, counsel and support for commanders and senior staff members. Duties and responsibilities. The public affairs officer is responsible for developing a working relationship with reporters and other media representatives, maintaining a robust community relations program, keeping contact with other government agencies, and keeping internal and external publics informed on issues that may affect them, known as PAOs for short. They are expected to coordinate with the appropriate agencies prior to contacting and releasing information to the media on conditions that might result in favorable or unfavorable public reaction, including releases and public statements involving local, regional and national news. Public affairs officers are responsible for preparing information relative to unit participation in military operations, world events, and environmental matters through news releases, special activities, photographs, radio and television, and other informational material. They also review materials such as speeches, news articles, and radio and television shows for security policy review and integration with the objectives of the military, and determine appropriate topics. They produce speeches and act as ghostwriters for commanders, often completely developing a commander's public persona. Additionally, public affairs officers oversee the production of base newspapers, magazines, and internal information produced by enlisted public affairs specialists, that include coordinating media visits and writing stories to share with fellow deployed personnel as well as audiences back home, both military and civilian. In the United States, training the public affairs community of the United States Armed Forces consists of active duty and reserve officers, enlisted personnel, civilians and consultants to provide support for managing the flow of news and information for the military. Public affairs officers and enlisted members often attend the Defense Information School at F.D. Meade, Maryland prior to their first duty station and for online and instructor-led professional development coursework and advanced training throughout their careers. Army. The United States Army's public affairs community is led by the Chief of Public Affairs, Brigadier General Ronald F. Lewis as of 2014. Update. B.G. Volsky. Before attending the EMCW, B.G. Volsky visits the North Pole. B.G. Volsky visiting the Office of the Chief of Public Affairs. Enlisted Public Affairs Specialists is listed as a 46Q. Enlisted Public Affairs Broadcast Specialists listed as a 46R. Marine Corps. The United States Marine Corps Public Affairs Community is led by the Director of Public Affairs within the Division of Public Affairs. Headquarters Marine Corps. Brigadier General Paul J. Kennedy was the Director as of 2014. Update. Marines within the public affairs community are identified by military occupational specialties. Enlisted 4,300 Basic Combat Correspondent, LCPL Private, 4,313 Broadcast Journalist, MGYSGT Private, 4,341 Combat Correspondent, MGYSGT Private, Officer 4,302 Public Affairs Officer, 4,330 Historical Officer. Navy. The United States Navy Public Affairs Community is led by the Chief of Naval Information within the U.S. Navy Office of Information. As of 2014, update, the CHINFO was Rear Admiral Dawn Cutler. Enlisted members of the Navy Public Affairs community are rated as mass communication specialist. Officers in Navy Public Affairs are restricted line officers and hold the Special Duty Officer Designator 165X. The annual CHINFO Merit Awards program recognizes outstanding achievements in internal media products produced by Navy commands and individuals. Air Force. The Secretary of the Air Force Office of Public Affairs serves in the leadership role for the United States Air Force's Public Affairs community. Air Force Public Affairs officers hold the 35P Air Force Specialty Code. The enlisted public affairs AFSCs are 3NOX2 and 3NOX5. Coast Guard. As of 2014, update, Rear Admiral Stephen Poland was the Coast Guard's Director of Governmental and Public Affairs.